Hello everyone. I suppose you can all hear me now. First of all, welcome to this online training event, and this presentation is going to be divided into three parts. And before I start the presentation, I would like you I would like to have a short survey on all the delegates. So can you see the poll? There are some questions, I think 3 simple questions. Can you just tick on it, and then so that I have a rough idea on and then I can focus on whichever part is more appropriate for you. Okay, now from what I have got here, I can see that a lot of you are teaching GCSE Chinese, and some of you are teaching other levels as well, and nearly half of you have the experience of entering the students into the GCSE Chinese, and then not too many of you have attended the GCSE controlled assessment. So good. So I will focus more on how to prepare the controlled assessment, and then perhaps we can do something more on the marking of the controlled assessment then. Okay, let's start the presentation now. Okay. So we start from the an overview of the specification. For the specification, there are 4 different papers. The first one is the listening paper, which contributes 20%. And then we have the paper 2, the speaking paper, which contributes to 30%, and that is the controlled assessment. And we have paper 3, reading paper, which is 20%, and then we have paper 4, the writing paper, which is also controlled assessment. So for the paper 1 and the paper 3, these are the externally set paper and timetabled examinations, whereas we need to focus more on the 2 controlled assessment, which is the speaking and the writing. So staying the controlled assessment, that means you and your students have full control on the tasks, what type of tasks, what type of topics you want to choose, and when to do it. Right, and let's look at, of course, there are some guidelines on the choice of the topics and how to conduct this. So let's look at the guidelines. Now, for both controlled assessments, you or your students can choose any topics under these themes. Theme number 1 is the media and culture. So it covers all the films, celebrities, festivals, or anything relevant to it. Theme number 2 is sports and leisure, about sports activities at school and any other leisure activities or hobbies. And theme number 3 is travel and tourism, which covers different trips, summer trips or holidays. And theme number 4 is business, work and employment. Right, now if your students are interested in any topics which you feel that they don't fall in any of these themes, there is still another option called center devised option. So any topic which you feel that they do not believe to any of the 4 themes, you can put category under this one, center devised option. Okay, now having talked about the themes, we need to go to another, to note another thing, and that is the, okay, here we are. Now, having had the theme, you decided on the topic and the theme, we need to look at the task and stimulus. Now, I'm going to show you some sample tasks and stimulus. Now, what tasks and stimulus are is actually some guidelines for your students to write the control assessment. So we can't just throw a topic to them and ask them to write anything on their own. It is not going to be a free writing. So there should be a sort of guidelines. So what are they? What kind of guidelines? Now, we are going to show you some controlled assessment pack, and Edexcel has provided some sample task and stimulus for you to adapt, or if you don't like, you can create something similar to your own. But let's have a look at what are the sample tasks and stimulus. Right, now there are for Edexcel, Edexcel has provided a full set of the sample tasks and stimulus for each theme. Okay, and I'm not going to look at all for you at this section, but I will just choose one. Okay, let's look at the first one. Okay, now here where we said this is the possible writing task on the media and culture, that is theme number 1. Okay, here is one task. First of all, the task is creating a situation or scenario. Now, you have been watching a serial on TV, and then you need to write a letter to your Chinese-speaking friend about this serial. Okay, what it is, you could mention the story so far, what ending you expect, and your favorite character, which episode you liked most and why, what other programs you like to watch. Now you can see that is the bullet points are there to guide the students to write the piece of essay, so that it is not being sidetracked. And I also like to highlight on some of the rubrics, and that is you could mention. And if you look at the whole sample pack, you will discover that the sample pack all use the could rather than must mention, because that will give more flexibility for your students to choose which points to emphasize more, or which points he or she can leave out. Okay, and also if you look at the bullet points, there are some bullet points which will elicit more ideas and opinions, and that is something what the examiners are looking for. Okay, I will go back to this towards the end of this presentation, so that you know what to focus on. Okay, now let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation then. Okay, now just then we've looked at the sample assessment pack. Now of course you can adapt. If your student really like one of those, you can adapt them, okay, and then ask them to work on it. How about if your student feel that all those are not within their interest, they want to write on something which is not there? So what you can do is you are going to write out your own tailor-made task and stimuli for them. So when you are when you're writing your own tasks and stimulus for your students, there are some points you need to attend to. First of all, the rubrics. Just as I mentioned that in the sample tasks and stimuli, they always use "you could mention." Okay, and in your rubrics, you have to be careful whether you want to write down "you must include these points" or "you can include these points." Now that will make a difference at marking, because in your tasks and stimulus, if you put down "you must include the points," then the examiner will look at all the points listed in the task and stimulus sheet, and if any of those points are missing, the content marks will be deducted, right? And if you want to make it more flexible, then you will use "you can include." So if any of the points are not there in the essay, they will not be penalized for the content marks. Okay, right. And another point I wish you to pay attention to is about the bullet points. So there are the bullet points should be some bullet points should be there to guide writing the facts that will build up the body of the essay. Okay, so these are the sort of questions or the points will answer to what, when, who, where. Now these are the basic facts. But if you want to boost, to make the mark higher, to score more marks, so there should be some bullet points to elicit ideas and opinions, and that is what the examiners are always looking for, right? And what are these? This means the facts which will answer the questions how, why, what would you if. Okay, these are very good points, and hopefully that you will include some of these. And always bear in mind that you will allow creativity. What does it mean? That means your stimulus should not be in the form of question and answer, because then that will limit to their creativity. Okay, so and in marking, the examiners always look for creativity and how they present the things individually. Okay, right. And there is a note that bear in mind is the task and stimulus, whether it is a sample task or stimulus or provided by Edexcel, or you create your own task and stimulus for your school, they should be refreshed every 2 years. So if you look at, you download the task and stimulus online, and you will find that it is valid from year 2011 to year 2013. Well, for the exam on 2014, there will be another set of new ones, and this also applies to your to the stimulus you create yourself for your students. Okay, right. And now, having set up the topics and all the stimulus, then it's the students' part to do the preparation work. Now, what the students need to do is to write down the notes, and we give it a name. We call it the CA4 notes form, the CA4 form. Now, what is it about and how to do this? Now, it is meant to be a plan for the essay, so they should be in bullet points, mind map. Now, bear in mind that the CA4 notes form should be done by by your students only, not from you. Okay, so And another point is, make sure that the students do not put down any sentences, paragraphs, or drafts which can be directly copied into the essay. Now, these are not allowed. And there is a word limit on the CA4 note form. And the limit is the student can use 30 English words or 50 Chinese characters. So you may ask, how about a combination? So if it is a combination of English words and Chinese characters, it is 30 Chinese characters plus 20 English words. So you may ask, how about they are using pinyin? Okay, if they are using pinyin, it is regarded as English. Right. And if your student find it's not enough, they can add 5 small diagrams if they to help them. Okay, so there should be a place where they can add to it. Okay, so I've already I've already prepared a sample CA4 form for you to look at. So can I have the sample CA4 form, please? Okay. Now, this is a sample CA4 form which is quite standard. Okay. Now look at this part. I try to put it in the middle so that you can see. Yeah. Now, this is the, sorry. Can I make it steady? Yeah, here. Okay, now, look at this part. Now, this is the sort of a diagram or a mind map, okay, about the trip. Okay. And then at the side of it, there are some notes on it. Okay, so you can see this is like a flow chart, and no sentences or any paragraphs. And then by looking at this, the candidate or your student is going to write the essay accordingly, right? And if you look at the pictures on the right, on the left, there are some 5 lovely pictures to help them. Now, these are the sort of things the examiners will look at before really marking it. Okay, so rather than writing just the points, writing some separate words, some separate phrases, I would feel that this is a more appropriate CA form which should be useful for the actual writing. Okay, now let's go back to the presentation. Now we have just looked at the CA4 sample, and now let's look at how to prepare, to sum up how to prepare for this one. Now first of all, you choose a topic from the themes. Okay, either from the sample assessment or you just decide one for your student, and then we'll decide on the writing task. Or either you adapt it from the sample one, or you create your own. And then you will sort out the stimulus and make sure that the stimulus will gradually guide the writing of the essay. And then ask the students to make notes on the notes form, on the CA4 forms, and bear in mind the word limit, and they can make use of the diagram, but it should be in the bullet points. And then you will assign a 45 minutes to 1 hour section for writing the essay. So that is one essay. Okay, and altogether your student need to prepare for 2 essays. You will go through the same process for essay 2. Okay, don't do 2 at the same time, they might get mixed up. So you do one, and then you do another one in another time, right? And then you need to fill in the details and then sign on the mark sheet. Now, when I finish this slide, I will show you what the mark sheet is, okay? And after that, you then send out everything. So all the points highlighted, the writing task and stimulus, the note form, the essay, the mark sheet, all together, you will send them out to the Edexcel examiner for marking. Now you don't need to give any marks at all. Okay, so can I have the mark sheet, the CM4, please? Okay, now here is the mark sheet, and then they give you a name, the CM4, 4 meaning paper 4. Okay, so what you need to do is just circle. We don't have January for Chinese, we only have the June one. Okay, and here of course the candidate's name, number, center number, center name, and then the language of course is Chinese, no problem. Now here is the task title. There should be 2. Okay, so task 1 and task 2. And what you need to the name of the dictionary if the candidate used, and here you need to circle the CA4 form. Now if your student has used the CA4 form, please circle Y, and if your student hasn't used any, please circle no, N, so that the examiner will not chase after the CA4 forms. Okay, now this is the most important part, and that is the signature of the candidate and the teacher, you, to declare that it is the authentic piece. Okay, so both signatures need to be fulfilled, and then you write down the date. Right, so that is all you need to do. Now for this part, you leave it for the Edexcel examiner to work on. Okay, all you need to do is just the top part of it until the signature of it. Okay, once you sign it, then you've done your part, and all you need to do is you put it in the pack, send it out, and you finish your job. Okay, right, let's go back to the presentation, and we'll have slide 7, and I'm going to give a brief note on how the marking done, and then you will do a sample marking. Seem to be quite long. Okay, sorry. Now it's about the marking, about the writing marking. Okay, now first of all, when examiner, well, that is what the examiner used to do. When they start marking, they will check the task and stimulus sheet, okay, and the CA4 form for relevance. Of course, whether it's relevant to the topic and to the title, and then they will read the essay, and then they will decide on the mark band. Now, what the mark band is, we do have assessment criteria, and then we give a different mark bands. Normally there are 6 bands. The last one is 0, and in very rare situation we give 0. Okay, and that will give you a rough idea, so which band it is, and for each band there is a difference of 2 or 3 marks. And then you need to read it again and decide on the mark, because each mark band there could be 3 or 4 marks difference. And the marks will be awarded separately for these things. For the content and communication, the highest mark is 15, and for the knowledge and application of language, the highest award is 10, and there is one more for the accuracy. The highest award is 5. So T means the total. The total mark for each writing task is 30. And then there are 2 tasks, so altogether the mark is 60. Okay, right, and now we look at the sample marking. Now what I want you to do in a minute is you need to read the piece of essay, the essay online. It will show you, and then you are going to award marks to the content, language, and accuracy according to the assessment criteria. So the assessment criteria is also online for you to look at. But if you've you've already conducted this exam or taught the GCSE session, you might be familiar with it, right? And then you need to record it on the form. Okay, now here is all the marking materials. Hopefully it's coming. Now it's coming soon. Right, now let's look at the first screen. I hope you have the same screen as mine. Now here is the essay. Okay, I've already typed it out, and if you want to look at the original essay, that is the original essay, how it's written. Okay, so but if you have difficulty to read it online because it's a bit fake, then you can read the one I typed out. I put down some in in the brackets where it means that the candidate has written down the wrong characters. Of course, you can always refer to the original essay. Okay, now read this. Remember what I mentioned. You read it first. Okay, and underneath it is the assessment criteria. You can refer to. You can make it full screen so that you can you know what it says. Okay, then you put it on the band to the which mark band. Okay, so the top one is number 1. The bottom one is number 6, but I do not put in number 6. I don't think any of you will put it into number 6, so it will be somewhere between number 1 to number 5. Okay, and okay, so I'll go. I'm surprised some of you have already started marking, give marks. Okay, now, okay, Jennifer, can you give the delegates the control of the screen so that they can read and start marking? So you can, well, go ahead with the marking and then put down the pool. Okay, I think majority of you have finished marking and submitted your marks. Okay, let's have the mark review. So can I have slide 9, please, Jennifer? Okay, now this is the sample marking, so I'm going to give a review, a mark review on this. Okay, so the title is School Canteen. Now, what I have put it down is the content. I put it in band 2. Okay, and the language also band 2. The accuracy also band 2, and they have the actual marking. The content mark is equal to 10, and the application of language is 7, and the accuracy mark is 4. So this candidate has scored a total mark of 21 out of 30 for this essay. Okay, now I just want to broadcast what you have done for this. So I discovered a lot of you had quite a similar marking as mine. Right, so we have 71%, which is very good. 15 of you put it in band 2, right? And then for the language mark, also 66 is over half of you in band 2, and it's a bit harsh. I'm quite surprised, but 28% of you put it in 5 to 6, the band 3. okay, but actually he's done quite well, okay. And for the accuracy, and again, you have over half of you to put it excuse me, to put it in band 3, and again it's a bit harsh. It should be in band 2, because whereas you put it in band 3, it really means that they have made quite a lot of mistakes. It's just more accurate than inaccurate. But I think for this candidate, though he has written he had some errors in the character writing, he actually had written quite a lot. The language is quite a lot of them. Quite a lot of the language is correct. Okay. All right. So I'm going to answer the questions later on, but before I do that, I just want to do the summary notes to sum up on what I have done so far, and there are some points, I think some useful points for both the teachers and the students to note. Okay, right. So can I have the slide 10, please, on the summary notes? Okay, now here are the summary notes to the teachers for the writing. Right, for the I will divide the summary notes into the different parts. So this is related to the task and stimulus sheet. So when you are making your own task and stimulus sheet, or whether it's adapting from the sample one or writing your own, you always check the rubrics: can, may, or is it a should or must. When you put down should or must, you must remind your student that they have to include all the bullet points in their writing, right? And hopefully you will include the bullet points to elicit opinions and ideas, and those are the important points to score high marks. And the third point is you should provide varied stimuli for different students, not one for all. There is nothing like one size fits all. If you put one stimulus for all the students in your class, then there will be some students will be limited in their ability of writing, okay, or some will not catch up. So it should be tailor-made to suit individual students. And as I said, preferably not in the question and answer form, because then it will limit their creativity. Right, and then always check that student understands the task and stimulus, and then they write accordingly. And from what we have seen in the past papers, some students did misunderstand the task and did not write according to the task and stimulus, and score very low marks because it's writing something not relevant. So make sure that they understand what they are going to write. Right, another point is about the word count of the essay. Now, the word count, the specification says 100 to 150 characters. Now, these are excluding the punctuation marks, okay, for each essay. All right, and if the candidate is writing below 100 characters, the content marks will be affected. Now, how about above? And if he's writing more than 150, there will be no penalty. But again, it says there will be no credit for excessive writing. So you need to have a balance in between whether the more you write is better or just write is better. Because the more the candidate writes, he will be open to mistakes. More frequently. Okay, so the best one will be writing between the 100 and 150, or a little bit above 150. Okay? And as the specification says, it is more focused on the quality rather than the quantity. Right, about the mark sheet. So there should be one mark sheet for both essays. There should be two different topics. And fill in the details at the top part of it. And remember to sign the authenticity column for the teachers and the students. Okay? And then it is going to be sent to the edit cell for marking. Right. Another one is about the essay. And it's rather a reminder to the students. Always check the relevance with the title, the task and stimulus sheet. Okay, check it is relevant to it. If it is something irrelevant, there's no point of writing a piece of very good essay, but it is irrelevant. It's not going to get any content marks from it. And check if the important bullet points in the stimulus are included. What I mean by important bullet points is not only the facts, but also the opinions. And now, this is very, very important. Do not copy from the CA4 form or from the model essay, because the examiners will know from the if that candidate is copying something, especially is from the whole class. So there is no point of copying something. It's better that they try to create, the time spending on copying, reciting, is better than spend more time on writing something on their own. And proofread and correct any mistakes. So what are those mistakes? Do not miss out any dots and or misplace them. Now that is very important. The Chinese character has something very special. If you misplace a dot or a stroke, it will change it to another word. Okay? And it might change the whole meaning. So be very careful. It's not only writing all the strokes down, but put them in the correct place. And do not split one character into two halves, sometimes three, and place them in the different squares. Even if you say, I'm using line paper, I'm not using the squares, there's no point you put it into, separately. Right? So always tell your students to write them a character. It should be put in one square. Okay, don't separate them. Okay, I think that's it. So here is some. I think I finished the presentation for the writing. So I'm going to use this time to answer the questions. Let's continue with the speaking control assessment. Now, before I begin, I just want to answer one question, which I just glanced and found it is very important. From one of the delegates asked whether the CA4 and the CA2 can be the same or overlap. Now, this is a very, very important question I need to answer. The answer is no, because whatever you've done for the writing assessment, the topic you've done for the writing assessment, you cannot use it for the speaking. That means they cannot be overlapped. Okay? Since the topic cannot be overlapped, the notes form can't be possibly overlapped. Okay? Right. I'll go back to the speaking control assessment. Right. So for this, for the speaking one, they have the same theme. So you will do exactly the same as the writing assessment, and ask the student to decide on the topic or try to choose whatever appropriate. Okay, and you're going to select two different topics from the themes. Either select or create your own. Alright, and the only difference is there will be 3 different speaking task types where your student can choose 2 from. So the different task speaking task type will be the open interaction, the picture-based discussion, and the presentation and discussion. Okay, these are the 3 different tasks, and I will go to explain more of the different tasks. But basically, you will do this, right? Once you and your student have decided the topic and the task type, and then the student will go ahead to prepare notes on the notes form, and that is CA2, 2 meaning paper 2, okay? The writing is CA4, paper 4, this one is CA2. Right, and then you will find a section for the assessment. So each assessment task will last 6 minutes. Right? And now, one very important point, and that is the teacher need to mark the assessment, and there is a mark sheet to mark the assessment, and then send it to the to Edicel moderator for moderation. Okay, so the most difficult part will be the marking part, because you need to know the criteria well, and then to award the marks appropriately. And in this session, I'm not going to go in depth as how it should be marked, because the marking of the speaking assessment needs another training, another controlled assessment training to train the teachers how to mark it, and you have a lot of chance to practice. But anyway, you will also have one sample marking, but it will not be a full training. It has to be another training, not now. Okay, right. I'm going to explain more on the speaking task types. So the 3 speaking task types are: the first one, the picture-based discussion. Okay, whereas the candidate can choose one picture or prepare one picture which he or she likes. It could be a photo, a family photo, a holiday scene, or whatever, or even a picture. Okay, and then the student can give up to 1 minute introduction, and then followed by the discussion with the teacher or the interviewer. The total time will be 4 to 6 minutes. So the minimum is 4 minutes, the maximum 6 minutes. Okay, now another type is a presentation, and then followed by a discussion. And what the student needs to do is the student will give 1 to 3 minutes presentation on a topic he or she chooses. Okay, so the minimum is 1 minute. The maximum is 3 minutes, and then will be followed by the discussion with the teacher or the interviewer. Again, the total time is 4 to 6 minutes. Another task type is the open interaction. Now, open interaction is the unscripted role-play dialogues. Okay, and there will be at least 2 questions from the students. So it is not just a question answer. It should be like a dialogue, a natural dialogue, and the student should get to prepare to ask at least 2 questions. Okay, and now for the open interaction, Edicel has prepared some sample tasks like the writing tasks. And why is it only for the open interaction? The reason being, for the picture-based discussion and the presentation, the students can choose their own topics. Okay, so there's no point of giving any sample. But for the open interaction, it needs some techniques. Okay? Right, now let's look at the open interaction task. Let me have a look. The open interaction task sample. Now this is the reference 5CNO2 speaking stimulus for this one. Now you can download it and adapt it from the edexcel.com. Okay, and again, like the writing task stimulus, these are to be refreshed every 2 years. Okay, now can I have the sample task that we can have a look? Okay, now here it is. All right, you can download the entire set and then have a look at it. You can also ask your student to choose any from them or adapt any from them. Now let's look at one. Now let's look at this one. Media and culture. Now of all those 4 themes, they do have the different samples. So for the media and culture one, so this is a school concert. Okay, a pamphlet of the school concert. All right, so the student can have this one. By the way, they have 2 weeks preparation time. So 2 weeks before the actual assessment time, they can have this one to go to prepare themselves. All right, and then there is a task sheet where he can look at. Okay, there are some bullet points for the situation. There's a situation for the exchange. Some exchange students from China are visiting your school. So one of them is asking you about the school charity concert. So what you are going to talk about will be based on the pamphlets. Okay, so your teacher will play the part of the Chinese student, and then the teacher will start the conversation. So the task is, so the teacher might ask you this, when and where the event is going to take place, etc., etc. So the student will have this sheet to go home and prepare. Now bear in mind that you will also look at this sheet. You will include that in your questions, but you should not let your student know what questions you are going to ask. And the question you are asked will, this will not be the only question you ask. You will go beyond these. So there will be some unexpected questions. Okay, and then the student should prepare themselves and should be alert all the time to answer or ask questions. So this is the open interaction, the sort of role play. All right. So I'm not going to look at the other tasks and stimulus. Of course, when you download this, you can look at it in your spare time. Okay, I'll go back to the presentation then. Now, just then, no matter which task type your student has chosen, they always say that they need to have a discussion, in which case interaction is very, very important. Okay, so whether it is a presentation followed by discussion, or a picture based followed by discussion, or a role play. So on all task types there should be interaction. So a brief introduction on what interactions are. So suppose the teacher, you are going to initiate a question, ask something to the student, okay? Then student responds to the teacher. Then the teacher will ask further question or on why, how, or to ask the student to expand the ideas, okay? Reinforce that question. to the student, and then the student will go into more depth to extend the response to the teacher. Okay, so and then the teacher might frame another question based on the response to go to the student. So it will go round and round like a circuit. So we call this an interaction. Okay, if it is just a question and answer one, it will not be a circuit. It will be two ways, or one way there and then go back. It will not be an interaction. Okay, and if the student chooses to give a talk, a monologue, just like what I am doing now, okay, there will be no interaction at all. So one is just talking and talking. The other one is just listening, so there will be no interaction. So whether it's the teacher giving a monologue or the student giving a monologue, it is deemed to be a failure. Okay, so bear in mind that whatever task type the student has chosen, there must be interaction. And it's during the interaction time the examiner will award marks to it. I mean, no, not only during, of course, the presentation time, there will be also marks awarded to it. But the most, if you want to get high marks, higher marks on it, then during the interaction time is the moment where the student will try to achieve higher. Okay, and I will go into more depth on how to help the student to get more marks on it. Right, and about the speaking mark recording sheet. Now, the speaking mark recording sheet will just like the stimulus. The only difference is there is a mark, a place where you can circle the mark on it. Now for the writing, you don't have to do the marking, but for the speaking, you will have to give mark yourself. So let's have a look at the speaking mark recording sheet. Now here is the speaking mark recording sheet. So again, you will have the different the bands. Okay, so for the higher band, it has a very clear guideline, states very clearly. If you want to put your student in this band, he needs to fulfill all these bullet points. Okay, and then the mark will be there will be 3 mark difference, but that will be that band. Okay, and the second band, the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth one. Okay, that's for the content. And for the range of languages, and then they also award marks separately. Okay, and also for the accuracy. Okay, it is somewhat similar to the writing assessment. That is, we call the speaking mark recording sheet. So you need to fill in 1 for each speaking and attended 2. Okay, and okay, let's go back to the presentation. So all you need to do is you need to match the mark band for the content and response. The highest one is 18. The range of language, the highest mark is 6. The accuracy, the highest mark is also 6. So it's a total of 30. So there are 2 task types. The total mark for the speaking assessment is out of 60. The different one. So you need to do is to circle the awarded marks. Okay. Now let's go to the sample marking. Now, what you can do, or what we are going to trying to do is the task. We'll listen to the recording. There will be a recording, and then you are going to award marks according to the mark grids. Okay, just remember what you did last time for the writing. You do the same. Okay, you enter the score in the poll form, and then you submit the poll. Okay, and we'll have the review afterwards. Okay, so we have the recording, the task sheet, and the mark grid. So this is an open interaction task. All right, Jennifer, can we have the recording and the mark sheets, please? Right, now on the screen you have the speaking mark grid for the recording, and then here you have the speaking sample, the task sheet. This is an open interaction, so there is a leaflet where you can see what it is about. It's about a sports center, and then there is some bullet points, some stimulus, okay, to follow. Now read this, okay, and then you listen to the recording, give marks, and then you do the poll. Okay, so the recording is about 4 minutes. Okay, let's begin. So Jennifer, can I have the recording, please?
你喜欢去运动中心吗？
我喜欢去运动中心吗？我喜欢去运动中心，因为我喜欢打乒乓球。我喜欢打乒乓球，因为我很好打乒乓球。
你什么时候去运动中心？
我也我的爸爸常常去运动中心，星期六。你喜欢去运动中心吗？
我很喜欢去运动中心，因为我喜欢运动。运动中心什么时候开放？
星期一到星期六的开放时间是早上10点到晚上10点半。星期二是早上10点到晚上8点。
运动中心有什么运动？
运动中心有羽毛球、足球也乒乓球。我喜欢打乒乓球也羽毛球。
你一般跟谁一起打羽毛球？
我也我的朋友 Jacob 打羽毛球。
打羽毛球多少钱？
我觉得羽毛球很贵，因为羽毛球多少英镑6。
多少钱1小时
？6英镑。
好，6英镑1小时。好，运动中心除了打羽毛球、游泳和健身还有什么？
运动中心有咖啡馆。我不喜欢咖啡馆，因为我不喜欢咖啡。我喜欢中国茶。你喜欢咖啡馆？
我很喜欢去咖啡馆，因为我可以喝水、喝茶。你喜欢喝中国茶还是咖啡？你喜欢喝中国茶还是咖啡？
我喜欢喝 中国茶，不喜欢咖啡。
除了运动，你还喜欢什么？
我喜欢看书，也看电视。我的爸爸常常跑步。
End of test.
Okay, let's go back to the presentation. I can see that nearly all of you have already voted. Alright, let's have the mark review. Okay. Now for this recording, the content and response, here are some of the remarks. The content is rather short. It's under 4 minutes. It has already been cut short, but there should be a little bit more at the end. But not much more. But anyway, the whole recording is under 4 minutes, so it hasn't reached the minimum requirements. And there are some omissions and hesitations. So it goes to band 3. The content mark awarded is 8. Now for the range of language, it is adequate but predictable. Now adequate means he did produce something relevant to the topic, but there is not the element of unpredictable. Now predictable meaning it just means that something is easily known, and anything unpredictable, that means your opinion, there's something you cannot be predicted, and that is the point where you can gain, the student can gain himself higher marks. Okay, whereas in this recording there is nothing unpredictable. Right, and there are some ambiguities, and the band is band 3, and the language mark is 3. Okay, for the accuracy, there is a fair amount of errors, but these errors were not affecting communication. For pronunciation, they are generally accurate. Alright, let's look at the marks. Again, it is band 3. The accuracy mark is 3. Okay, so very interesting. Can we have a look at the poll results? Hi, Jenny. Can we have a poll the poll results? All right. So Okay, so for the for the knowledge for the communication and content, so we have nearly half for band 2 and half for the band 3, and unfortunately that is for the band 3 one. I mean, if he can provide a little bit more content and more on that side, he would be able to get to a higher one. Okay, for the let's look at language. For the language mark, well, over half put it in the band 3. Yes, I'm pleased that you managed to put that one. So that is a band 3 one. And for the accuracy, again, it's 80% to put on the band 3, so we are not too far apart in terms of marking then. Okay, thanks, Jenny. So we go back to the presentation. Now, having done all this, I'm going to give the a summary notes on things to note. Okay, I need to hurry a little bit in order to leave some time for the questions. Right. Now, this is for the teacher. As a teacher, the role is you are going to conduct an interactive conversation. Now, interactive, that is very important. Now, just bear in mind what I have mentioned about the interaction. Okay, so it should be a circuit, a round and round one, not only just question and answer. And in case you want to ask any question, you ask open-ended question. So no yes or no. Because that will not gain any marks for the students, but open-ended questions do. Right, and you try to elicit students' knowledge and language skills. Okay, so ask a question that allow them to show what they have learned, because there is no point for the student to ask very sophisticated question, very beautifully framed question. No marks will be given. But if the student can answer using some good language, the marks, he will score marks for himself. Okay? So always invite opinions or new ideas, not from you, from the students. So let the student talk most is very, very important. That is the way he can gain marks. Time 4 to 6 minutes. Now, try to put it at least 4 minutes, because if it is under 4 minutes, then the content marks, the communication marks will be deducted. And don't let it go beyond 6 minutes, because after 6 minutes, the moderator will stop the recording. So whatever good points, relevant points mentioned after the 6 minutes will not be counted. Okay, then you award marks on the mark recording sheet. Okay, so that is the teacher's role. Now, what is the student's role? Now, remind them to be responsive when answering questions. So don't just answer a very short question. Try to extend it. Try to show the initiative to extend, to give the answer. Be responsive. And that is the way to show that he knows more. Okay, try to extend the answers to include this thing, to include the reasons, opinions, explanations, examples, etc. Ask for clarification or repeating the question. If you don't know, you ask for clarification, but try to do it in Chinese, not in English. Okay, and you take initiative to ask questions that are appropriate. Especially it is an open interaction one. Just remind your student they need to ask at least 2 questions. He gets more, okay, but at least 2. If no question asked, the marks will be deducted. Alright, when conducting the speaking assessment, you need to bear in mind on these points. You put the microphone in favor of the student. Maintain the natural interaction. Reframe the question to help understanding. And if you ask a question that the student the student does not understand, you try to put it in a simple way. Don't repeat your question. Okay? You try to include some unpredictable elements. What are they? Those are the opinions, the ideas. Now, do not do this. Allow monologue. Do not let your student to give a monologue on a topic. That is very bad, because no interaction, then will not gain any high marks. Do not allow correct the mistakes, because it is not a lesson. Okay, whatever mistakes you corrected will not gain any marks. So do not summarize the ideas. Let the student do the summarize. Okay? Do not use English unless there is no Chinese alternatives. Okay? Now, there is one more point I need to add, and about the documents you need to send out. Now, you need to fill in the details in the mark sheet, and later on I'll show you the mark sheet. Is similar to what you see on the CM4. You need to sign the authenticity columns. and you need to fill in the marks on the items. The items, the 2A. 2A means the recording one, and the 2B. These are the two tasks. And all you need to do is you need to send the 2A recording, one of the recording called 2A, that is the one you send out. The 2B, another recording, you keep it at your school, together with the note form, that is CA2, the stimuli, the items, the mark recording sheet, and also the mark sheet. Oh, now all these things in red, you need to send everything to the Edexcel moderator for moderation. Okay? Now, very quickly, I want to show you the mark sheet, the CM2. So, Jennifer, can I have the CM2, please? Now, this is the mark sheet for the speaking. Okay, the top part is exactly the same as that for the writing. And remember to circle the CM2 use, whether it is a yes or a no. And what you need to do is you need to the teacher's name here. You need to write down to the title here, the task and title here, alright, both the mark for the 2A and the 2B. You don't need to send the 2B task recording, but you need to record the marks. Okay, so you do all this, and then you, the teacher examiner's mark is here, the teacher examiner's marks for the 2B, but leave that one blank for the moderator. Okay, so having done this, you need to sign the authenticity here for both the student and the teacher, okay, and then leave the rest for the Edexcel moderator. So that is the mark sheet you need to send out. Okay, so it is towards the end now, and can I have the presentation back, please? The PowerPoint presentation. That please. I'm going to show you some references where you can have more details in case you want to know more about the all these controlled assessments. Right. Now these are the references. So you can look at this web link and look at the website from the that is actually the Edexcel's website about the GCSE control assessment. And you can also look at the examiner's report, and here is another website. Okay? And so that should we are going towards the end of it, so I have about 3 minutes, so I'll try to answer some questions before I end this session. Right.